So you can go ahead, Mohammad Kamila Begum, please.
Yeah. Good day, everybody. I'm Kamila, student of Madras University. I'm here to present the security news roundup for the month of June. To start with, the agenda goes by Maze ransomware, Trickbot malware through emails, Facebook fined by Canada, cyber attack on Honda's global operations, Microsoft June patch, and the stats of data breaches which happen in the month of May. To our first news, US nuclear contractor hits with Maze ransomware. Westic International in New Mexico is an US military contractor involved in the maintenance of the country's nuclear arsenal and has also given engineering support, repair, and maintenance for the ground subsystem components in the US military. The company said that the computers have been hacked and are encrypted, but there are no information regarding when the attack took place or how the criminals gained entry into the computer systems. Immediately after the attack, the company contained all the systems, that is, they isolated all the affected systems and commenced an investigation with the help of independent forensic firm to analyze all the contained systems. Investigation regarding the compromised data and to determine if any personal information is at risk are also on process. It is said that the confidential documents have been swiped and encrypted from the US military nuclear missile contractor. Just because it's a ransomware, it has demanded ransom, and unfortunately, even if the computer pays ransom, there's no guarantee that the hackers will destroy the stolen data, especially if it has a higher market value. There are chances that the hackers will sell it to other government or trade it with other criminal enterprises. On to our next news, Black Lives Matter email delivered trickbot malware. There are spam mails targeting US citizens that are pretended to deliver survey on Black Lives Matter after the assassination of the black men in Minneapolis. But in reality, it delivered the infamous banking Trojan trickbot. So basically, the mail had the subject line, "Vote Anonymous about Black Lives Matter," and contained the survey document. The recipients were asked to fill the survey and were attached in return a document of the survey. The people who opened the attached document were asked to enable malicious macros that downloaded and executed DLL payloads on the computer. Now, talking about the trickbot, the original purpose was for harvesting banking credentials, but its plug-in in nature made it feasible for a variety of purposes, including brute force attack, reconnaissance, data collection, exfiltration, and much more. The trickbot also steals credentials from the browser's Active Directory services, databases, cookies, and open SSH keys. It can also install additional payloads like ransomware. There are researches going on how many numbers are affected. The only way to escape these kinds of phishing emails is to educate the people about some of the most common types of phishing campaigns that are in circulation today. The next news for today, Canada's Competition Bureau, a law enforcement agency, said that Facebook mishandled Canadian users' information and fined Facebook almost $6.5 million. In line with the Competition Bureau, Facebook made misleading claims about the privacy of Canadian personal information on Facebook and Messenger. It has also shared data with third-party developers. Initially, Facebook gave the impression that the users can control who sees and access your personal information on Facebook using the privacy features such as general privacy setting page and the about page and the audience select menu on the post. But the company did not limit the sharing of user personal information with third-party developers. This personal information includes contents that the users posted on Facebook, messages that the users exchanged on Messenger, and also information about the identifiable users. And moreover, it also allowed certain third-party developers to access the personal information of the user, friends, after the installation of certain third-party applications on their phones. Facebook claimed that no longer allowed such access to personal information of the user's friends after 2015, but still, the practice then continued until 2018 with some third-party developers. The Canadian Competition Act forbade the making of false and misleading claims about the products and services to promote their business interest. This actually includes what the data they collect and how they use it. This also applies to all the free digital products the way it applies to regular products that the consumers consume. The social media Facebook didn't agree with the Competition Bureau, but it still wanted to resolve the matters quickly and entered into a consent quickly and agreed to pay $6.5 million to settle the concerns. On to the next news. The Japanese car giant confirmed a cyber attack which compromises some of the automakers' facilities. It is believed that the attack was being made with the file encrypting ransomware referred as Snake. Okay, first let me explain how the Snake ransomware functions. Primarily, the Snake ransomware enters the target system and then removes all the shadow volume copies that it removes all the backup copies and snapshots of the computer files, etc. Then it kills all the processes related to the SCADA systems, virtual machines, network management software, industrial control system, remote management tools, and much more. All these processes are killed. And then the malware starts encrypting files, then drops the ransomware note with the title Fix Your File. The note then contains the email ID and the mentioned ransom amount that has to be paid. Moreover, the ransomware targets all the systems and devices connected to the network. It not only affects one system, it affects all the systems and the devices. After the ransom is paid, the decryption key is given to the victim just like any other ransomware works. The access point for the Honda cyber attack was found to be Remote Desktop Protocol (RDP), which allows users to connect to another system over the network. This RDP was publicly exposed to access, which paved the way for this attack in the Honda industry. However, the company has confirmed that there is no evidence pertaining to the loss of personally identifiable information. The company also has resumed production in most of the plants and are working towards the production in Ohio. On to the next news. Microsoft issued its patch update for June 2020, fixing 129 vulnerabilities across its products and services. This marks the company's largest monthly security release to date and the fourth consecutive month of more than 100 CVEs patched. 11 of the bugs addressed today are categorized as critical and 118 are classified important. The vulnerabilities exist in Microsoft Windows, Internet Explorer, Edge browser, Chakra Core, Office, Office services and web apps, Windows Defender, Microsoft Dynamics, Visual Studio, Azure DevOps, and Microsoft Apps for Android. Luckily, none are publicly known or under active attack. The few interesting trends in the massive release include fixes for 3 flaws in the Microsoft Server Message Block (SMB) protocol. The 2 flaws in SMB version 3 include a denial of service vulnerability that requires an attacker to be authenticated and an information disclosure vulnerability that does not require authentication. Unfortunately, both of which can be exploited by a remote authenticated attacker. The third vulnerability patched in Microsoft SMB is a remote code execution vulnerability that exists in the way SMB version 1 handles requests. To exploit the flaw, an attacker would need to craft an packet and target the SMB version 1 server, and the server gets exploited. Various other critical remote code execution flaws were discovered in VB script. The flaws exist in the way that VB script engine handles objects in memories. An attacker could corrupt the memory in such a way that allows them to execute arbitrary code in the context of the current user. An attacker who successfully exploited the vulnerability could gain the same user rights as the current user. If the current user is logged on with the administrative user rights, an attacker would successfully exploit the vulnerability, could take control of an affected system. An attacker could then install programs, view or delete data, or create new account with full user rights. Microsoft also issued updates addressing Windows 10, 8.1, and Windows Server versions affected by critical use after free Adobe Flash Player flaw. In a web-based attack scenario where the user is using Internet Explorer for the desktop, an attacker could host a specifically crafted website that is designed to exploit any of these vulnerabilities through Internet Explorer and then convince the user to view the website. The next news is quite interesting. A seamlessly innocent looking wallpaper of sunset caused smartphones, primarily by Google and Samsung, to crash and become unusable. The affected user then had to factory reset their phones and lose all their data in order to make their devices function again. Anyone looking at this wallpaper will see a stunning landscape with mountains, clouds, and a lake. But it's what happening behind the scenes that causing a havoc among smartphone users. Thankfully, it's only the original image that's causing phone to crash, and not when you take a screenshot or when you download it off social media, because the colors shift to a less vibrant version. When this image is set as wallpaper, users are reporting the phone crashing and get stuck in a boot loop. Some users got it fixed by accessing safe mode and changing the wallpaper, but many have to factory reset their data, um, factory reset their smartphone, ending up losing their data. The initial assumption of researchers were that it was a malware. Someone designed the wallpaper to conflict with the code of Android and wreak havoc on the smartphones. But the real problem is the way luminance is computed. When it comes to colors, Android phones follow sRGB, which is standard red, green, blue format. However, in case of this photo, the RGB format was followed. The Android programmed to handle prototype and convert the RGB, but it is compatible with. But because of one pixel with high luminance level, the Android tries converting into RGB format and boot loop occurs and the phone crashes. Phones with Android 11 updates and are able to automatically alter this format and make it compatible, but Android 10 is not. Next on to stats of data breaches. The total number of breaches in May are 105 with around 8.8 billion breach data records. The five biggest breaches are AIS with 8.3 billion breach records, Roblox with 10.10 million breach records, Tokopedia with 91 million breach records, Bigfooty.com with 70 million breach records, and Truecaller with 47.7.5 million breach records. The common types of breaches were ransomware, internal error, and cyber attack. Most breaches sector are healthcare, technology, and public sector. That's the wrap to the monthly roundup, and I thank ISACA Chennai chapter for giving me this opportunity.
Yep. Thank you, Camila. It is a very good presentation. Does anybody have any questions? You can use the chat box and ask. We'll just keep a quick 1 minute pause for that. If no, we will proceed. So